Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am going to try to not do a voiceover today, but we'll see. We'll have to see if the baby wakes up or not. So we are going to make our wizard soap for our D&D collection. Well, our RPG collection. So it's the wizard from D&D. If you were wondering what kind of wizard. We have, for this particular soap, decided to go with vanilla. And also no color. So whatever color it is going to be strictly because of the discoloration that the scent is going to have. And it's my basic oils along with my lye solution and my vanilla. So this is a very simple soap today. As a matter of fact, I might even end up taking it all the way probably to like a medium trace, just so that I won't have to wait for it to set up quite so long. So without any further ado, let's get it mixed up here. I'm gonna move that over. A stick blender in here. Make sure I don't have any air bubbles in there. All right, no air bubbles. I'm not going to mix in the fragrance oil just yet because I want to make sure that I get at least to an emulsion before I do that. So, this is my lye solution. Guess I can pour it down over my spatula. And honestly, I have never had a splash up from my lye solution, but I also work a good distance away from my actual batter. So if there is a splash up, you guys might get it, but I probably won't. Now my lye solution was quite a bit cooler than my oils, because my lye solution I had made up already, and my oils had not yet been mixed up until today, and that's because I had run out of one of my oils, so I ended up having to wait, which isn't a huge deal, because again, this is going to be a super simple soap. So it is probably coming up to what we would call a false trace. You can see how it's thickened up a lot, but I know that it's not emulsified. Like, there's no emulsification happening. You can still see the graininess, and you can see that there's a separation from the oils at the top and some of the already starting to saponify oils at the bottom. So we're gonna mix it up. And while I'm doing this, I'm also looking to make sure that and I just spilled my, okay, I'll be back. Just spilled my oil, my scent. That's what I get for having it there. It's gonna smell really good in here. I tell you what, it smells really good in here now. Husband's gonna come home and say, "You've been making soap." Yep, I have. And I spilled some. Well, I spilled some fragrance oil. It's okay. All right. You can see that it separated while I was gone. All right. Let's mix up some more. I think I'm just going to hand stir the rest of this because I don't want it to get too thick. I do want it to be thicker. See, it's still not fully emulsified. So I did get to a false trace for sure. Just looks like we've reached a light trace, but we really haven't. I am probably, I can feel it, very thick at the bottom, but I can see that there is a layer of oil sitting right at the top. It's very close though. Oh, that smells so good. So good. All right. Could probably, nope, still got a lot of separation. So I guess we will go back to the stick blender because otherwise this is gonna take a very long time. It's gotten very thick, but it's still not fully emulsified. Let's see, kind of see it separates just a little bit, and even on top of here, you see there's just a little bit of separation happening. I'm gonna give it a good stir because really, it doesn't have to be anything other than emulsified all together. Everything's good, so everything will saponify well. But again, it's partly because my oils were freshly melted and my lye solution had been sitting and was completely at room temperature. I did warm it up a little bit in a water bath, but it didn't get, you know, all the way up to closer to the temperature. But it's also not a huge deal. I just have to mix it. Everything is emulsified, doesn't look like it's breaking up at all. And I'm at light to medium trace. You can kind of tell because it's all sitting on top still there. All right, I am going to mix the fragrance in by hand because I still want this to be pourable. Even though it's all gonna be the same all the way through, I'm not adding any kind of fun colors or anything to it because again, it's a wizard and I've played a wizard many times in D&D, and let me tell you, as much as I like them, they are really easy to kill. Because they, you know, they don't have very high AC normally, and they don't have a lot of hit points, so they're pretty easy to kill. I mean, you could take on spells that, you know, make them a little bit hardier, or you could play a character that was like, let's say, a turtle, because a turtle has a much higher AC than most other, most of the other ones that you can play. So I have played a turtle wizard, and that was nice. All right, here we go. We're gonna add our fragrance oil. I'm just gonna continue to stir it. And like I said, I'm just gonna stir it, and I'm not gonna use the stick blender to mix it. It's already changing color. Look at that. Now this will cause it to discolor because, well, it's vanilla, and vanillin discolors a lot. So I'm gonna get all of my, yeah, I don't know why I tried to stick that in there. It wasn't gonna go. So I just want to make sure this is good, stirred in. I shouldn't have any acceleration from this. It's a pretty well-behaved fragrance, but I really just want it to still be pourable so that my top can be fairly flat. I don't do a lot of craziness on top. I just like the look of kind of a normal looking bar. I will do a little bit on top just to give it a little bit of zhuzh, but you won't really be able to see it. It's more so that I know which side is the top. It won't be very flat. All right, I think I've got it all mixed in. Give it another quick stir. And I'm gonna just use this to break my fall so I don't have a ton of air bubbles in there. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna let it sit up for a little bit just so that I can have a little bit of the ability to put something on top and it not just settle right back in right after I've done that. Because you can kind of see, like, that's gonna settle back in and it's not gonna be sitting on top. But once it's gotten all settled, I will come back and add a little bit of texture to the top. Like I said, it would be a whole lot of texture, but just a little something to give you something to look at. But I mean, it's a wizard, and who doesn't think like D&D wizard? I mean, very easy characters to play. The only thing you really have to know a lot of times is going to be like your spells, what spells you've got. And honestly, I think I only really liked playing wizards because I could cast Fireball. And in the last one shot that we played, I played a wizard who cast Fireball on, like, I don't know, 5 or 6, it was like wolves, and 2, like one I think was an ogre and one was something else. We pretty much took them down like almost immediately. We didn't have to do a whole lot to get rid of them. So that was fun. And still got a lot of fluidity to it here, which is nice. So I will be back. Yeah, I'm basically just gonna go get my skewer just so I can put a little bit of something on the top so that it's not so flat. But right now that's just gonna sink right back in because it's too fluid still. It's only at like a light medium trace, which means I can still see the pattern, but that pattern will go away. Should go away. Seems to be sitting up there pretty nice. But I'll be right back. All right, we are back, and looks like our little design stayed on there pretty good. So I'm just going to maybe do a couple figure eight. Oh, also it's just a chopstick. I had a whole bunch of them, and it's what I used to do a lot of my tops with. So I think we're just gonna do just a little figure eight here on top. Nothing too fancy, but just enough to give it a not so plain top. I never really know how to end a figure eight doohickey. Maybe that's not really a figure eight. Just swirl it. Honestly, I like to play in these tops. My sister tells me, you play in your tops way too much. Yeah, because I never really know what I want them to look like until I get to playing with them. And then I'm like, oh, that looks good. You know, it's like, oh, that's amazing. Let's leave it at that. And really, again, I'm just going over it just to be something not plain. I don't know if that really even really show up on camera, but it's just a little doodle so that it will turn out as something that's not just plain, even though this is going to be a very plain soap. All right, so we'll see you back here for the cut. For me, it's tomorrow. For y'all, it's now. All right, here it is, the finished loaf. I have a little green on my finger because I did another project, but this one you can definitely see the change between the pour and now, how much darker it is. It's now a light brown color as opposed to that real creamy color that it was. And I can't wait for you guys to smell this bar. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of vanilla fragrance, but this is amazing. It smells so good. And the inside of this bar might surprise you a little bit because you see that? It's lighter. It's so much lighter. It's that same kind of creamy color that you first get when you pour it out. And it's all going to change. It's all going to be even darker than the outside. I'll post a picture so you guys can see what the complete finished project looks like. And it's funny because I did mark the top with that little kind of invisible swirl so that I would know where the top was. And then I still ended up with one or two bars that when I stamped them, I stamped them wrong. So they're not upside right. Not that it really matters because it's a bar soap and it really doesn't matter. But I love the bar and I hope you guys do too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've ever played a wizard in D&D, comment below and let me know. Bye.